Good afternoon. The meeting of the Public Works will come to order. May we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much.
Roll call of the members of the Public Works Subcommittee. Councilor Morabito?
Here.
Here. Councilor Patch?
Here.
Here. Councilor Rotundo is absent. Councilor Zambudo is absent. And Chairman McKenna.
Here.
Here. Quorum is present. There's one item on the Public Works Subcommittee agenda this evening. This is a motion by Councilor Keefe that the mayor request the city engineer and the water sewer superintendent to investigate, identify, and help correct numerous water displacements and/or natural springs running off of Vane Street onto subsequent hills. The freezing runoff is posing a hazard to the neighborhood, specifically the hills connected to Vane Street.
Thank you. Also in attendance is Councilor Novoselsky. Any councilors wishing to speak on this?
I'll just say one thing.
Councilor Patch?
I'm aware that you know where the problem's coming from, the property, and I just want it known that I'm not in favor of making the owner of that property responsible. And I think the city should do the work. Thank you.
Councilor Morabito?
Thank you, Mr. Chairwoman. Do we have a cost of how much this is going to be if the city takes on the burden?
I'm Don Charmella, the superintendent of the Water and Sewer Department. No, we haven't really talked about numbers, but the cost is pretty minimal because the Water Sewer Drain Department can do the tie-ins. So what we would like to do is, so first of all, let's start from the beginning. These springs, they need to be identified, where they are, and then they need to be tested. So 302 Vane Street was tested. There's no chlorine in the water. It's not a potable water source. It's definitely a natural spring. Fennel Street, that water was tested. It's definitely a natural spring. There's no chlorine content in it at all. So I do agree with you, Council Patch, that I believe the city, should be responsible because the city spends a tremendous amount of resources trying to remove the ice, salting the ice. We spend a lot. We're always dispatched up to try to remediate this icing problem. But as far as the cost is concerned, we can bring a tie-in right to the owner's property. This particular Vane Street, he already collects the water and he brings it down with a PVC pipe. So all we need to do is bring our infrastructure to the sidewalk, and then we could just make the connection, hard connection underground. So, as far as the cost is concerned, it's work that we do anyway. I mean, there is a cost associated with it, but the materials cost is very minimal. It's basically pretty much only PVC piping and the labor to trench over to it. So, I can't really put a dollar figure on it unless I sat down and figured, a day's work, 4 guys, and the amount of pipe that I'm going to need. But, I can't imagine each one probably equal more than a few $1,000s to just do it and remediate it for good, be done with it. So, then count it by the amount of springs. So if it's 10 springs, it's $30,000. So it's small money, really.
Mr. Chairwoman, I think I too have the same thoughts as Councilor Patch. I think the city should take on the financial burden, but I'm not sure. Maybe the city clerk can give a better ruling on this. Are we able to report this out favorably and add that the city would take on the responsibility, or we have to react on the motion itself, right? We can't add to it, can we?
Sure, Counselor, you could offer an amendment to the full city council.
Okay, can we do that?
Councilor Novoselsky?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with both my councilors. You know, I've been dealing with this down in my neighborhood for 18 years. And it just seems though it's building because everybody's pumping it out onto the sidewalk. I got Florence Ave, I got North Shore Road, I got Hitchborn Street, I got Highland Street. And I think what we have to do is, councilors, help our public works guys, make a list of the ones we know and compile it together and give it to them. And I do think we need a full amount of money to put to it, because if it's not going to be gotten to by June, by the end of June, now we'll ask the mayor to put it in the budget specifically for that. And if we need the 30,000, if that's the estimate, then we do it. And I'm sure, knowing the mayor, if it's a little more, he's going to find the money to help the people out. These folks should not have to pay for it, bottom line. So those are my thoughts, Madam Chair.
Thank you. May I speak from the chair? I agree with this also. In Beachmont, we have many, many hills, and from just an example, from Bellingham Ave onto Endicott Ave, and I think you saw it firsthand. You took a sample of the water, and there wasn't chlorine in it. It's running down from the hill, and it's going into Endicott Ave. So there are a lot of streams in Beachmont also. So I think it's a great idea that we form a list and see what we can work at.
So we've been working on a list, I've been working on a list, and what we're doing is we're identifying these natural springs, we're going out and testing them, we're verifying the test, we're validating the test with a photograph of showing the test results, no chlorine content in the, so we're little by little, we're putting together like a database of these natural springs. If there are some that I'm unaware of, please feel free to email me the locations. But, as far as that figure of, $3,000, that's only bringing the infrastructure to the sidewalk. I mean, without an easement granted to us, the city, I don't know about stepping foot on people's property, and we certainly can't do that, but we can bring the infrastructure right there, right to where they can, right to their property line, and then from there, it's a simple connection, whatever source that they have, that, that collects the spring water, we will certainly tie it into our infrastructure, so.
Okay, thank you. So, a recommendation?
If I may, Madam Chair, I know, Donnie, you talked about easements. Right now, CDM Smith is going on doing sump pump work. And we had to get waivers from the folks. Can we do the same thing to do that, to help these folks out?
I'm not really sure about that. I mean, that's something we would have to talk to, Nick Rice from the city engineer. And I think that if there's money spent on it, that I'm not so sure it can actually come out of my budget. That's the problem. But yes, I mean, we could do it. The city can do it.
Right,
Absolutely.
that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying take it out of your budget directly, because this is a larger problem than your budget can handle.
But expanding the infrastructure to the sidewalk, that can be in my budget. That's
Right,
on public
okay.
property. We can do that. There's not a problem with that.
But if we have to go a little further to help these folks out, to alleviate the
I
problem.
believe there's a way.
I think we ought to recommend a waiver like we did,
Yep.
similar to CDM Smith, and let
Right.
us go on the property
Right.
and do what we have to do to make that drain work.
Yep.
So
Yes.
that would be part of my recommendation, so, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Guanasso is in attendance. Would you like to say anything, Councilor Guanasso?
Not at this time, Madam Chairman.
Sorry, Councilor President.
Madam Chairperson.
Councilor Patch, do you have anything else to say?
Yes, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman? Chairwoman. Donnie, we had a problem like 5 years ago with the water between Festa Road and Nell Road. We went through the problem, we're going to put a pump in, and then the neighbors, we found out we could do it by gravity if we go through onto Nell Road, and we got an okay for the easement, but they changed their mind.
Yes.
So if this problem comes up in another area, or can the city do an easement without permission?
A taking?
Yeah,
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak? Okay, Madam,
Chairwoman McKenna, so what I've gotten from the notes, the amendment to the motion shall read that the city will be required to cover the cost of said repairs, and homeowners would be required to complete a waiver as was done with the sump pump program.
okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may for 1 second. Donnie, do you check out the 311 reports on these when they show up?
Yes.
'Cause I can recommend to the city councilors, put in a 311 report, and he's going to get it, of where the problem is.
Yes,
Give the address.
yeah.
And this way, you don't have to email him, or just put it on 311, or call it in on 311, and they'll write it up, and he'll get it afterwards.
Under drainage, and then just specify natural spring.
So, all in favor? All opposed? Committee members?
Are you asking for a roll call or just ayes?
Member by virtue.
Do you want a roll call? Okay.
Roll call on the motion as amended to be forwarded to the full city council for consideration. Councilor Morabito?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Patch?
Yes,
Yes. Councilor Rotundo is absent, Councilor Zambudo is absent, and Chairwoman McKenna.
Yes.
Yes, the motion will be forwarded to the full city council as amended.
Council President Guanasso votes yes also.
Councilor Guanasso, as the ex officio member of all committees, votes yes as well.
There is no further business of the Subcommittee of the Public Works meeting. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for watching.